All right, I'm gonna construct a parallel line to line M through point A, and I'm gonna use the copying an angle idea. So this is, we're just gonna build off what we already know. We know how to copy an angle. So I'm just gonna take, and basically I'm just gonna create any angle I want down here. So I'm gonna take this line, and let's just draw it. Again, the length of that line is pretty irrelevant, and the angle is irrelevant. Basically, I'm gonna take this angle, and I want it right there, because if these angles are the same, then the corresponding line will be parallel to this line. Okay, so how do we copy an angle? Well, again, we go back and we use circles. So take my compass, kind of go wherever I want. The sharp edge is gonna be, of course, on that vertex, and I'm gonna draw a circle. Right, knowing that the radii of all circles are congruent. That means this line and that line are congruent, and I'm gonna use the same radius, and I'm gonna come up here and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm basically just gonna create a copy of it above. So I have a decent amount. I have this, and this, and this, and I just need this length. Like, oh, okay, so just take that length, and I want the same length up here. Now I am gonna switch it, right? So I went pointy edge here, and then I have to go up here, and I am gonna turn that around. I know that was a little hard to see, but I need the pointy edge on the top one, and I'll draw, and then I'll reposition it. Okay, so what I've done so far, go back to the beginning, I took a random amount, and I made this circle, but then I made the same circle, okay? So that those two lengths are the same. Now I made that distance, and I made that distance. So that means this intersection has to have the same relationship to that line as this point does to that line. And so then all I have to do is connect these dots. And essentially what I did was I copied that angle. It's the same procedure we did for copying the angle. That angle is equal to that angle. These angles would be corresponding, and congruent corresponding angles will force this line to be parallel to this line. Again, I made that angle, that angle. Look to the steps again. I took my compass and I made a circle. Doesn't even matter how big. Same circle. That forced this and this and this and this to be the same length. Then I measured this length, and again, I'm really just making a triangle. I measured this length, and then I made this length the same. That told me where to put that dot. And what that does is, it really then turns this length, that dotted line length, to the exact same as this dotted line length, which makes these two triangles the same. That length and that length are the same. And so they're both a single, double, single, single, double, single. These triangles are identical, which means they're congruent, which means that angle and that angle are the same, which did mean that these two lines, so line M and line, let's say B, are in fact parallel. Again, this is the construction you would use. Again, you don't actually need these marks, but circle, circle, measure a new radius there. That forces this and this to be the same. Boom, draw your line by intersecting them. Again, this is parallel lines by copying an angle.